We all know how large the gaming market is in China. They have nearly 700 million gamers that generate more than $30 billion annually, and of course, many Western companies see this region as an untapped market. We have Activision Blizzard, which has made some blatantly obvious moves recently to appease their Chinese investors. We also have companies like Epic Games, which Tencent owns 40% of, Riot Games, which Tencent owns 100% of, and the list could just continue to go on. But we all know how large the gaming market is in China. We also know how China is ran. We have seen how much they are willing to censor, and we have seen how their harsh rules have spilled into the Western world, especially when it comes to entertainment and video games. And today we are going to discuss more of China's rules and regulations, and possibly how they could affect Western companies. But very quickly before we get into the topic, please make sure to subscribe if you enjoy the content I create. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for updates on topics I've covered in the past, and also consider becoming a supporter of the channel if you want to support past watching the content. But today I wanted to discuss a very large change for the gaming industry in China and how it could affect Western companies that have bent over backwards to please their Chinese investors. The Chinese government believes that gaming addiction is a very serious thing, and according to a new report from the New York Times, they are going to fight gaming addiction in youths by implementing very harsh regulations. The National Press and Publication Administration announced regulations that ban users younger than 18 from playing games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. They are not permitted to play more than 90 minutes on weekdays, and a generous 3 hours on weekends and holidays. And it goes even further than just how much you can play. They have also made it so you have to identify yourself when you play, but also how much you can spend when you are playing games. As you can see on screen, it says the National Press and Publication Administration said that minors would be required to use real names and identification numbers when they are logged on to play. This is so, of course, they can see who is playing and how much you are playing. I personally never use my real name when I am playing a game online. I know many people don't. I think majority of people don't. It is just that sense of anonymity. It is that sense of protection. Of course, people online like to banter and like to say things to each other, and you don't want your real name being out there, especially in the case that someone might take it a little bit too far. We have seen things like, of course, swatting happen to YouTubers and, of course, just regular people online playing video games. I completely stand by the fact that people should be able to have that anonymity when they are playing a game. The rules also limit how much young people can spend on purchases made through apps like virtual weapons, clothes, and pets. Those purchases are now capped at $28 to $57 a month, depending on age. Now, this is obviously to fight things like loot boxes and pay-to-win mechanics in games. I have discussed gaming addiction many times on the channel. I will have some of my previous videos that are very important linked in the description below, but I do think that it is very easy to experience addiction when it comes to your favorite activities, even gaming. Addiction is a real phenomena. You spend way too much time playing something, too much money on collecting new games or items in-game. And they do believe that the problem with gaming addiction is much worse in their region versus another region, and while anything is believable, I haven't seen any evidence pointing to that. But that doesn't mean that it's not true. I just question how honest the people making these statements are, and because I very much so believe this will hurt the gaming market in China, I wonder how all of the large Western companies will feel about this. Does this mean they will stop trying to pander to this region's oppressive government as much as they have been because they are not going to generate as many sales? Of course, they will still generate a lot of sales from the region, but less from on an individual basis. Or will they continue to just bend over backwards so that their titles can be in the marketplace and that they can still bank off of that region? I still think that they will make a lot of money being in this region, but on an individual basis now we will probably see a decline. In the end, only time will tell, but I am curious to see how this will play out. Personally, I would love to see companies stop bending over backwards to this oppressive government, and I would like to see them stand their ground, but they haven't done so far, and I don't particularly think they will in the future. But that is all that I wanted to discuss today. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about people being limited to 90 minutes of gaming on weekdays and 3 hours on the weekends and holidays? What do you think about people being limited to how much they can purchase when it comes to video games? People should be allowed the freedom to do what they want and purchase what they want. I understand that addiction is a very real thing, but this just seems a little bit out of hand. But if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, and of course if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.